The project was approved with unanimous management support. My written objection lived in the shared drive. Dated, signed, unambiguous. Both facts appeared in the same quarterly review. My name is Brielle, and I managed compliance for a consulting firm in Melbourne. We specialized in organizational restructuring, the kind where companies pay us to tell them which departments to eliminate. The VP wanted to cut compliance checks on client assessments. Faster turnaround, higher margins. He called it streamlining inefficiencies. I called it liability exposure, in writing. The email went to him, his assistant, and the project archive. March 12th, 4:47 p.m. Subject line: Formal objection to proposed assessment protocol changes. 3 paragraphs. No emotion. Just contract language, insurance clauses, and the sections of our client agreements that required independent review before recommendations. I outlined the financial risk if we got it wrong. The March 18th approval memo listed me as a supporting stakeholder. I found out in a meeting I wasn't invited to. A junior analyst mentioned it, congratulated me on the bold new direction. She seemed genuine. I didn't correct her. I went back to my desk and pulled the file. There it was, my objection, sitting 2 folders above the approval summary. Same directory, same access permissions. No response had ever been sent to my email. No meeting scheduled, no acknowledgement of any kind. Just a note in the approval document that said management was aligned and enthusiastic. I printed both documents. Then I did nothing. The VP's new protocol went live April 2nd. I kept my printed documents in a locked drawer. Not hidden, just secured. I attended the kickoff meeting, took notes, asked clarifying questions about timeline and client notification procedures. My tone was neutral, professional. The VP thanked everyone for their flexibility and vision. He made eye contact with me when he said vision. I nodded once. After the meeting, I returned to my desk and opened the compliance tracking system. Every client assessment now bypassed the independent review I'd flagged as contractually required. I updated my personal records. Date, protocol name, implementation confirmation. I didn't send an email. The first assessment under the new system went out April 9th, a logistics company in Sydney. We recommended eliminating their quality assurance department, 18 positions. I reviewed the file. No secondary compliance check. No risk assessment annotation. Just the recommendation and fee structure. I made a copy. April 15th, the second assessment. A manufacturing firm in Brisbane. Same structure, same missing steps. I made another copy. By April 30th, we'd completed 6 assessments under the new protocol. I had documentation on all of them. Not hidden in my desk, stored in the same shared system everyone used, filed under manager review logs. Standard practice. Nothing unusual. No one asked about them. May came quietly. The VP sent a company-wide email praising efficiency improvements. Turnaround time down 34%. Client acquisition up 12%. My name appeared in the contributors list. I forwarded the email to my personal account, then filed it in the shared drive. That afternoon, a junior consultant named Michelle stopped by my office. "The new system's working well," she said. I looked up from my screen. "It's efficient." "Yeah." She hesitated. "Do you ever worry about the contracts, though? Some of the clients have pretty strict language about independent review." I kept my expression neutral. "Have you flagged that concern?" I mentioned it to my supervisor. "What did they say?" That it was covered at the management level? I nodded slowly. Then it's documented. After she left, I opened the client contract database. I pulled every agreement we'd signed in the last 18 months. 23 active clients. 19 of them had explicit language requiring independent compliance review before final recommendations. I cross-referenced those 19 with the assessments completed since April 2nd. 4 matched. 4 clients whose contracts required a process we were no longer following. I created a summary document. 2 pages. Contract excerpts, assessment dates, protocol deviations. I saved it in the shared drive. Same location as everything else. File name: Contract Compliance Cross-Reference, Q22-1024. I didn't send it to anyone. May 24th. I was added to a meeting titled Leadership Alignment. The VP opened with revenue projections. Strong quarter. He credited the streamlined processes. Our managers have been essential to this transition, he said. Everyone rallied behind the efficiency improvements. Halfway through, the CFO asked about risk exposure. With the accelerated timelines, are we still maintaining our standard safeguards? The VP smiled. Absolutely. We've refined the process, not eliminated oversight. Management has been fully supportive. He glanced at me. I met his eyes. Said nothing. The CFO seemed satisfied. June brought more assessments. One client, a healthcare staffing agency in Perth, had particularly specific contract language. They required dual sign-off on any recommendations affecting clinical staff. We'd recommended eliminating their entire training department. Single sign-off. No compliance review. I documented it. June 14th. The healthcare client sent a follow-up email asking for confirmation that the required independent review had been completed. The VP responded within an hour. All contractual requirements were met. Our compliance team conducted full due diligence. He didn't copy me on the response. I only saw it because I had access to the project folder. I saved the email chain. June 18th. The VP scheduled a one-on-one with me. His office. Door closed. Brielle, good quarter. Thank you. I wanted to touch base on team morale. Get your read on how the changes have landed. I kept my posture relaxed. The team has adapted. Any concerns? Nothing that hasn't been documented through normal channels. He leaned back slightly. You've been quiet in meetings lately. I've been focused on my responsibilities. He paused. I value your input. If there's anything you think I should know, my door's always open. I appreciate that. The conversation lasted 12 minutes. Professional. Measured. I didn't mention the objection. Didn't mention the contracts. When I returned to my office, I logged the meeting in my calendar notes. Standard practice. June 29th. The firm's external auditors began their mid-year review. Standard procedure. The lead auditor was Patricia. Thorough, detail-oriented, no interest in office politics. She requested access to compliance documentation for Quarter 1 and Quarter 2. I provided everything. The full shared drive, all manager logs, all cross-references, including the file titled Contract Compliance Cross-Reference, Q2 2024. July 5th. Patricia scheduled a follow-up call. I'm reviewing the assessment protocols. I see a process change in April. Yes? Can you walk me through how that aligns with client contract requirements? I pulled up the document I'd created in May. I shared my screen. Here are the relevant contracts. These sections specify independent review requirements. Here are the assessments completed under the new protocol. These 4 don't include the review steps outlined in the agreements. My tone was factual, not accusatory. Patricia was quiet for a moment. Was this flagged internally? I submitted a formal objection before the protocol was implemented. Do you have that documentation? Yes, it's in the shared drive, March 12th. And the response? There wasn't one. I'll need to review this with the audit committee. Understood. The call ended. July 11th. Patricia sent an email to the executive team listing areas of concern. The third item was Client Contract Compliance Assessment Protocol. She requested a meeting with the VP, CFO, and General Counsel, scheduled for July 18th. I wasn't invited. But July 22nd, I received a calendar invitation. Compliance Protocol Review, mandatory attendance. The meeting room was full. All managers, the VP, the CFO, General Counsel, Patricia on video. The General Counsel opened. We've identified gaps between our client contracts and our current assessment protocol. We're implementing immediate corrective action. She pulled up a slide. 4 client names. The same 4 I'd documented. These assessments will be re-reviewed using the contracted compliance process. We're also reverting to the previous protocol effective immediately. She didn't say who identified the gaps. The VP's expression was neutral, professional. As people filed out, the VP caught my eye across the room. I held his gaze for 2 seconds. Then I left. July 30th. I received an email from the General Counsel's office. Thank you for your compliance documentation. Your records were instrumental in our review. That was all. I didn't respond. August 2nd. The firm sent formal letters to the 4 affected clients. Professional, apologetic. Offered re-review at no additional cost. 3 clients accepted the re-review. 1, the healthcare staffing agency in Perth, declined. They also declined to renew their annual contract. August 9th. The executive team held a closed-door meeting. The outcome appeared in my inbox that afternoon. The VP was transitioning to an advisory role, effective September 1st. The email called it a strategic realignment. August 15th. I passed the VP in the hallway. He was carrying a box. Brielle. I stopped. Yes? He looked at me for a long moment. You never said a word. I kept my voice even. I said several. In writing. March 12th. You could have come to me directly. I did. You received the email. I meant after. You could have pushed back. I documented my position. That was my responsibility. He shifted the box. This wasn't personal. No, I said. It wasn't. He seemed like he wanted to say more. I waited 5 seconds. Then I nodded once and continued down the hall. August 23rd. The CFO offered me the VP role on an acting basis. I considered it for 2 days, then declined. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm most effective in my current capacity. September brought a new VP, Catherine, 15 years in risk management. Her first week, she scheduled one-on-ones with all managers. When we met, she pulled up the shared drive on her screen. I've been reviewing documentation. Your record keeping is exceptional. Thank you. The compliance cross-reference from Q2. That's not standard practice, is it? It wasn't required, but it seemed prudent given the protocol changes. She studied me. You flagged concerns before implementation. Yes. And when those concerns weren't addressed? I documented the outcomes. She nodded slowly. That's the right approach. September 19th. Catherine sent a company-wide email introducing a new compliance framework. Mandatory secondary reviews. Audit trails. Clear escalation procedures. She asked for my input on implementation. I responded with a detailed memo. 3 pages. Structured. Thorough. She incorporated most of it. By October, the new protocol functioned smoothly. I kept my files organized. My documentation current. Nothing changed in my approach. April of the following year, Catherine called a department-wide meeting. We're implementing quarterly contract audits. Every active client, every agreement. Brielle will lead the framework design. I spent 3 days on the protocol, 14 pages, checklists, review criteria, escalation trees. Catherine approved it immediately. This is exactly what we need. By May, I had a team. Michelle, the junior consultant who'd asked about contracts a year ago, and 2 others. The first audit cycle launched May 1st, 23 active clients. May 15th, Michelle flagged something. A client whose contract required quarterly progress reports. We'd missed one. We corrected it immediately. No penalty, just better communication. I documented the incident, added a note to the audit protocol. Verify quarter definitions in all contracts. Small thing, but important. June brought 12 more audits. 11 were clean. The 12th revealed a payment discrepancy. We've been billing quarterly instead of monthly. For 9 months. Client owed us $47,000, but we couldn't charge late fees because we'd failed to invoice on time. We wrote off $8,300. I brought it to the CFO. This is why we're running these audits, to find gaps before they become bigger problems. The client accepted our explanation with grace. Appreciate the transparency. July 3rd, we completed the first full audit cycle. 3 issues identified, all resolved. Catherine presented the results to the board. They want this expanded, all vendors, all contracts. I submitted a proposal for vendor audit protocols, approved within a week. August brought vendor reviews. We found the first problem quickly, office supply vendor. We'd been paying net $45 instead of net $30 for 2 years. Contract included compound interest on late payments. Total owed $3,200. The CFO looked at me. You're finding a lot of problems. That's the job. The previous VP didn't find these things. I kept my expression neutral. Different priorities. She studied me. You know what I appreciate about you? You don't make excuses. You don't point fingers. You just fix it. September brought another discovery. IT services vendor had been overcharging us for premium support. Our contract only covered basic. Overcharge. $1,900 per month for 18 months. Total, $34,200. The vendor apologized. Full refund plus 3 months premium support at no cost. I documented everything. Catherine sent me a note. You've recovered $45,700 in 2 months. The board is noticing. I didn't reply. October 4th, I was invited to my first executive strategy meeting. The CEO was direct. I want to expand your mandate. Full contract lifecycle management. Risk assessment before we sign. What do I need? 2 contract specialists. 1 attorney on retainer. Clear authority to flag deals before signature. The CFO spoke. That could slow down sales. I met her eyes. It could also prevent expensive mistakes. The CEO looked at Catherine. How many problems has her team found? 15 contract issues in 6 months. Financial recovery of over $45,000. Prevented exposure of at least $200,000 in potential penalties. The room was quiet. You have what you need, the CEO said. Build the team. November 2nd, a sales director named Marcus asked me to review a contract before signing. New client. Large deal. Worth $300,000 annually. I found the problem by page 4. November 3rd, I met with Marcus. Section 6.2, liability cap. What about it? It's unlimited for errors in our recommendations. Marcus frowned. That's standard. No. Standard is capped at the contract value. This has no cap. The client insisted. Then we need insurance that covers it, or we need to renegotiate. His expression hardened. This deal has been in motion for 3 months. If we don't fix this and we make a mistake, we could lose much more. You're going to kill this deal. I'm going to protect the company. He went to the CEO. November 4th, I was called to the CEO's office. Marcus was there. Catherine, the CFO. I pulled up 3 similar contracts, all capped at contract value or 2 times. This one has no cap. The CEO studied the screen. What do you recommend? Renegotiate. Ask for a cap at 2 times contract value. If they refuse, walk away. Marcus exhaled sharply. That's a $300,000 annual deal. It's a potentially unlimited liability. The CEO looked at me for a long moment, then at Marcus. Renegotiate. If they won't budge, we walk. November 9th, the client agreed to a 2x cap. Contract signed November 12th. Marcus didn't thank me, but he didn't challenge my reviews again. November 20th. Catherine took me to lunch. You're making enemies. I looked up from my coffee. Am I? Some people think you're too cautious. I'm doing my job. I know, but politics matter. Are you asking me to soften my approach? No, I'm asking you to be aware of how you're perceived. Explain your reasoning more. Bring people along. I thought about that. I'll try. December 1st. A project manager asked for a contract review. This time, I changed my approach. Thanks for sending this early. I want to walk through a couple of things together. Her posture relaxed. I pointed out 2 issues, but framed them as questions. Collaborative, not combative. I can help draft language for both changes. She smiled. Thanks. This is really helpful. Same outcome, different process. Less resistance. December 15th. At the company holiday party, the CEO stopped me. We're creating a VP role, enterprise risk and contract management. I want you to consider it. Can I think about it? Of course. Let's talk in January. I spent 2 weeks thinking. January 15th, I met with the CEO. I'll take it, on one condition. What's that? My team reports directly to you, not through another executive layer. Contract oversight needs independence. He nodded slowly. Agreed. We shook hands. January 20th, the announcement went out. Brielle Hoffman promoted to Vice President, Enterprise Risk and Contract Management. January 28th, Michelle knocked on my office door. Can I ask you something? Did you always know? Back when the protocol changed, did you know this would happen? I set down the box I was holding. I didn't know anything would happen. But you documented everything. I always document everything. That's not an answer. I looked at her. I knew the protocol was wrong. I knew it violated contracts. I knew someone would eventually notice. I didn't know when. I didn't know how. I just knew I needed to be right when they did. That's cold. It's realistic. She was quiet. Do you ever regret it? No. Why not? Because I gave them the chance to do it correctly. They chose not to. What happened after that was their choice, not mine. February 3rd. Marcus, the sales director, stopped by my office. I was wrong. Last year. The liability cap thing. I waited. That client just got sued. If our contract had no cap, we'd be exposed to potentially $2 million. but we capped at $600,000. Silence. I should have trusted your judgment. You were doing your job, but you listened eventually. Anyway, I wanted to say that. You were right. Thank you for saying it. March 12th. 2 years exactly from my original objection. I received an email from Patricia, the external auditor. Brielle, I'm retiring next month. Before I go, I wanted to say, what you did 2 years ago was the right thing. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't appreciated at the time, but it was right. The industry needs more people like you. I read it twice, then replied, Thank you. That means a great deal. February 17th. I presented to the board. In 18 months, we've reviewed 89 contracts, identified 34 issues, prevented $680,000 in potential losses, recovered $52,000 in overbilling, strengthened 23 client relationships through transparency. The board chair said, This is exactly the kind of operational excellence we need. Afterward, the CEO pulled me aside. You don't enjoy this, do you? The recognition, the presentations. It's not why I do the work. Why do you do it? I thought about that. Because I don't like inefficiency. I don't like preventable mistakes. And I really don't like people getting away with carelessness. He smiled. That's honest. It's all I have. March 20th. I was reviewing a new contract when I noticed something. A clause almost identical to the one the previous VP had pushed through. Same intent, different words. I picked up the phone. Catherine, I need to show you something. We caught it before signature. Fixed the language. Protected the company. April 1st. I implemented a new policy. All contracts mentioning timeline flexibility or protocol adjustments must route through risk management before finalization. Some people complained. I held firm. Catherine backed me. The policy caught 3 more contracts with similar issues. All corrected. April 30th. I received a call from a competitor's CEO. I'm impressed with what you've built. Head of Enterprise Compliance, significant raise, equity package. The offer was generous, 40% raise, full team budget. Why me? Because you don't just check boxes, you build systems, and you have the spine to enforce them. That makes me difficult. I know, that's what I want. May 10th. I told Catherine about the offer. I can't match that financially, but I can promise you'll never report to someone who undermines your work. I thought about it. I'm going to stay. Why? Because I started something here, and I don't leave things unfinished. May 20th. The firm signed its largest contract ever, $1.2 million annually. My team reviewed every page, found 2 minor issues, resolved before signature. The CFO sent me a note. This deal would have been impossible without your team's diligence. June 1st marked 2 years in my VP role. 12-person team, over 200 contracts reviewed. $1.3 million in prevented losses. The system worked. June 30th. Catherine announced her retirement, effective December 31st. The CEO asked me to apply for her role, Chief Operating Officer. August 20th. They offered me the position. I accepted. September 15th. I promoted Michelle to VP, Risk Management. She sat in my office, stunned. Are you sure? Completely. What if I make mistakes? You will. Everyone does. The question is what you do after. What should I do? Document them, fix them, learn from them. December 23rd, my last lunch with Catherine. Any advice? I asked. Stay patient, stay accurate, and don't apologize for being right. That's it? That's everything. January 1st, my first day as COO. New office, executive floor, corner view of the harbor. I set up my desk the same way as always, minimal, organized, functional. The work continued. Different title, same principles. January 15th, the CEO asked about my first 2 weeks. You know what I realized about you? You never wanted revenge. You wanted the system to work correctly. I met his eyes. Same thing. Is it? When the system works, people who break it face consequences. When it doesn't, they succeed. So yes, same thing. He nodded slowly. Fair enough. February 12th. I received an anonymous email. I worked at your firm 3 years ago. I saw what happened with the protocol change. I saw how you handled it. You showed me it's possible to do the right thing and still succeed. Thank you for that. I read it 3 times, then walked to the window, looked out at the harbor. The water was calm. The work was never finished, but the system was better than it had been. And that was exactly what I'd set out to do. Not revenge, not recognition, just a system that worked correctly. Because in the end, documentation speaks louder than any accusation ever could. And patience, quiet, methodical patience, wins more battles than confrontation ever will.